there's a bunch of them. Most of them are split with other bands, just because people used to not buy the whole reel because everyone was broke. There's a Thrones Carp one in Carp, Worst Case Scenario, Area 51 in Carp, Sleater Kinney in Carp, good combination. Mukilteo Fairies. I guess there's 4 reels altogether. Should have got all this shit together before you came. I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something in here that I'm not sure if it ever came out, because no one ever gave me a copy of that like rare and unreleased record. So I don't know if a couple of these songs may not have come out.
Are you talking about Action Chemistry?
I guess I don't even know what it's called. I just heard that there was like a
That was a singles thing.
right. Yeah, there's not even a song title on this one. It says crap.
Wait, where does it say that?
It's got a fucked up vocal on it. It could be any song. I don't know where all these track sheets are. With that archivist. Check one other place. Nothing. Well, I don't know. We could just take our chances and throw one up. I'm trying to remember which reel was the one that had the possibly unreleased song. It was probably this one. So I had to remix this Area 51 stuff for a reissue a couple years ago. That's probably where I found it. That's the only one with a track sheet. Not really set up to use this machine. It's kind of like buried.
Yeah, you probably don't use that too much.
No. I think I've used it twice in the last 10 years. Fuck. Of course, it doesn't want to work. Nope. No dice.
It's not feeling up to it, huh?
No. It's mad because we never use it. So this is payback. But
Okay.
I think I had the song. I made a rough mix on the computer,
Oh, great.
I think. I think this is it.
I'm fine.
Sound familiar? Is this one of the 7-inch songs?
Yeah.
Is it the Tumwater T-Birds one?
I don't think so. That's I'd Rather Be Clogging or Turkey Named Brotherhood.
That's not this.
I don't think so. This is not I'd Rather Be Clogging. I know that.
There's another one on here. Yeah, this one's like 10 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
Sound familiar?
Oh,
Do you know this one?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this on that unreleased record?
Oh, yeah.
Who put out that record anyway?
Aaron Teller.
Who?
Aaron Teller. He bought Punk and My Vitamins from Vern.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was the one that was on this reel. March 10th, 1995.
Wait, is this the Boston thing?
What's that?
Is this the Boston one? No. I don't remember what record.
It's not one of these songs, is it?
Oh,
For the
maybe.
Trouble Man thing?
Oh,
The
it
ri-
could be.
the rise
Did you
split?
record that?
Yeah. Well, the carp side.
So yeah, you recorded that, the Tumwater T-Birds, and
This,
something else.
the
Oh, it's
suplex.
Okay. It must be, maybe it is on that.
This, I mean, it's definitely, this was recorded in Portland at Mike Lastra's studio. So I know
Oh, okay.
I
So
wouldn't
it's
have
not
those
that.
reels. Yeah.
Right. So it must be that.
Yeah, I think that's all.
Did you record anything that they didn't put out? Like you were saying, like, or all your reels from those two sessions?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't even find the track sheets. I don't know what the songs are.
Oh wait, what about this one?
Yeah.
The Long Hind Leg split. Well, this is clearly is not a Long Hind Leg song, so I guess it's not that.
I guess.
Vern and John DeVoy are playing that song at one of the shows this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of what shows?
One of the benefit shows for the doc
Oh, cool.
next weekend, I guess.
Oh yeah, I did record this one. I mean, I figured since it was up here, but I thought maybe I recorded the Long Hind Leg side. But yeah, I think this is the one that John Golden called me, the mastering guy, and
Yeah.
said I think that there might be a problem with this record because there's this weird noise that goes all the way through it, but I had to tell him that it was an intentional weird noise. I think that was the first time I ever spoke with him on the phone.
Was that carp side or
The carp side. I think it was the carp side. I don't know. So this is almost halfway through. Bro, you want to keep listening to this, or do you
I
want
can
to
just turn it down. a
chat?
little. Yeah, sure. So I've just been starting with like having people just like introduce themselves and like kind of say where it starts for them as far as carp is concerned.
Uh-huh.
Either as individuals or as a band.
Right. How do you want me to introduce myself?
I'm Tim Green. And yeah, just say how you met them or how you saw them first. You meet them first or see them first?
I met him first.
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Tim Green, and I met Carp around May of '91. Nation of Ulysses was playing in Olympia, and
Oh, you know what? Can you just turn that off?
yeah,
Because then I'll be forced to use that particular song.
right. Do you want me to start over again?
Yeah,
or-
sure.
My name is Tim Green. I met Carp around May of 1991 in Olympia. Nation of Ulysses was playing on tour, and I think I met Chris first. I think it was down by the docks. I don't really remember what the circumstances were, but I remember meeting him, and he was in high school at the time, and he told me about his band, and I don't know if we saw them or played with them on that trip, but I know we came back like later in the summer to play the IPU thing, and did they play that?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
No, because that was in 1991, wasn't it?
yeah.
That's like the year they started.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe they must have just been starting when I first met them. They hadn't played a show yet. I feel like we, the first time we actually played with them was probably Yakima. We played in that parking lot. Were you there?
No, I missed that show actually, but I heard about it. Was that off the record?
It was like the parking lot of a bank.
Yeah.
And we just set up outside and played like around dusk, and I'm pretty sure Cart played. And a bunch of kids came, and there were a lot of skaters, and it was actually a really good show. It was really fun. Be curious to see if there's any footage of it somewhere, because it was pretty strange.
There's supposed to be footage of it. My friend Sharif said he shot a little bit of it on Super 8, but he's never been able to find it since then, so it's supposed to exist.
Anyway, so that was like August or September of '92. And then I ended up moving to Olympia a few months after that, and started hanging out with those guys more and more. And I lived with Vern, and he was good friends with those guys, and so we all just kind of hung out together, would drink together, and I ended up sort of starting a band with Chris and Scott called Raging Inferno, which we never played a show. We practiced, I don't know, maybe 8 times, and it was just kind of for fun. I don't know if we ever even really intended on playing a show. We would just get together and play. We covered, I think we covered Easy as It Was, the Melvin song, which everybody in Olympia seemed to cover Melvin songs around that time, like Fits of Depression. And then I guess the first time I recorded them was probably '93. I had a few pieces of recording equipment, and Vern bought Pat Malley's old 8-track and mixing board, and he let me use them in exchange for recording stuff for Punk of My Vitamins, his label. And I don't remember when the first time it was that I recorded them, but sometime in '93. And I ended up doing this Wipers tour, playing bass in Europe for a month, and made enough money to buy like some better gear and mics and compressors and stuff. Well, one compressor. And started doing more full-time recording, and did that Tumwater T-Bird 7-inch, probably '93 or '94, and that Long Hind Legs split, the Rock Coalition split, and eventually that Suplex record, which we did at Mike Lastra's Smegma in Portland, which we probably spent like 4 days down there or something. I think we stayed with Joe Preston. And there was a weird thing that happened while we were recording. We had just gone out to eat. We were taking a break. We went to like Fred Meyer or something. I think that was the only place within 5 miles of the studio. Got some French fries. And we had just come back and got in the studio, and we heard this huge crash outside. Has someone else told you the story already? And we went outside. It was like maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. It had just gotten dark. And we saw this like Honda Civic or something crashed into the back of their van. And their van was like lifted up onto the sidewalk about 5 feet from where we parked it. And they had a pretty hefty van. And this little Honda Civic somehow had moved it. And the girl was still inside, and the windshield was smashed. And we came out to help her, and she had gotten out and was sort of like stumbling around in the street, bleeding from her head, and asking where her car was and where the road was. She was just like really out of it. And we were trying to get her to sit down and get out of the street, and I think someone had already called the ambulance, and it was pretty gnarly. And she was a pizza delivery person, and she was trying to deliver a pizza, and then she was really freaked out because she had some weed in her glove compartment, and she wanted to get into her car to hide it before the cops came. I don't really remember what happened at the end, but she did go to the hospital, and I don't know if they ever got any insurance money for their van. It was pretty fucked up.
Was it drivable at that point, or?
Yeah, I mean, we drove it home back to Olympia, but the rear fender was sort of hanging off, and it might have fucked up the alignment somehow. Yeah, she must have been going pretty fast. I have to go another amusing or more amusing anecdote. That wasn't very amusing. When we were recording, I think the Tumwater T-Bird 7-inch, I used to get these reels from Goodwill, these 7-inch tape reels, and I would spool off the tape and use the plastic reels again. And I'd get like a fresh pancake reel that didn't have any plastic. It was just the raw tape, and spool it onto there because it was cheaper. So I had just spooled off an entire 7-inch reel, and there was a pile of recording tape about 2.5 feet tall. And Jared put the whole stack on his head and started running around like a madman. And we opened the door to the studio, the garage at the Red House. We saw a bicyclist going by, and Jared ran out and just started chasing the bicycle screaming and yelling, and the guy just got really scared and biked a lot faster. And we just fell on the ground laughing so hard we couldn't get up. It was incapacitating.
What was your impression, or how did like the topic for the artwork for that record come up, as you remember?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm sure it's something to do with, obviously, with their high school, with, redneck pricks, making fun of them. Yeah, I don't know. It's a great concept, though.
So, what was your first impression of their band? Like that first time you saw them?
I don't know. I really don't remember. I mean, I liked him. I liked him a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
How about as like how they, like the three of them together? Like, what was your kind of sense of their?
They always seemed to kind of hate each other. I mean, not just like regular arguing, and certainly not just like regular band arguing, but just like real venom. Like they just couldn't stand each other. And sometimes it was like a little uncomfortable to be around. Like sometimes it was kind of funny, but it would just get so hateful that you kind of felt like that maybe you shouldn't be there. Like they were having some kind of like breakdown. But after a while I realized that it was just like that all the time. And that was just their personalities. It wasn't really a big deal. It was kind of funny.
At what point in the band was that? Like, was that early on?
It was that I realized that,
or that you noticed that, or was that the whole time? Or?
The whole time, really. Yeah. Like I remember going out to their practice space. They practice out somewhere outside of Olympia, like kind of way out in the woods in this weird garage shack thing behind someone's parents' house, I think. And I think that might have been the first time I really noticed it. Just the pure venom that they spewed at each other.
Where do you think that came from?
I don't know. Probably, something to do with being sort of an outsider, outcast in their high school. Probably gave them that attitude of, hate against the world, which they sort of took out on each other sometimes. But I don't know. There's other bands that I've experienced that with too, but not to that degree. I don't know. You'd have to talk to a psychologist.
Do you think they cared about each other though? Or, I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'm sure they did. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. What about so let me ask you, I forgot to tell you this before. It's like always I'm gonna cut my own voice out.
Uh-huh.
So it's always good, like in all your statements to, hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
This is Bill,
Hey,
Andy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. The Chops is upstairs.
Okay. Is he all clean?
He's all clean.
He has worms?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
Ew.
yeah. So I had to get him some stuff. And, I gave him the pill. So
Yeah.
I can't give him the flea medicine for like another couple weeks.
Huh.
I can't really overlap.
Uh-huh. Is the worm medicine going to kill his fleas too?
No,
Uh-huh.
it just kills the worms.
Huh.
But apparently, they get it from eating the fleas. I noticed he was rubbing his butt on the ground, so I had like a feeling. I just thought, I wasn't sure exactly, but
Yeah.
she said he took a shit as soon as he left.
At the place?
Uh-huh. But I guess dogs
better
do that.
better there than here.
Yeah, I guess he was just nervous with all those dogs there.
Yeah.
No, did I not grab my keys? Anyway, okay, I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. So like, since I'm gonna cut myself out, you can like, you want to make sure your statements kind of contain all the information with which to understand them.
Oh, okay.
Right, you know, so if like, where do you live? It's like, I live in San Francisco, and not just San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah. So let me ask you, so, let's see. So what was Carp? It's not Trek either.
They were a band. Carp was a band. I don't know what else to say to that question. You're getting a little obtuse here.
What, let's see. Who is Carp? Scott, Chris, Jared.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say here.
Just like, who was in the band?
Carp was Chris, Jared, and Scott. They were all friends from high school.
Cool. So what was your impression of like Olympia at that time? Like, I guess earliest impression,
Mm-hmm.
like what that would be 90 or something, 91.
Right. I don't know, Olympia was kind of like, almost like being in high school. I mean, not only because most of the people were pretty young, but just sort of the atmosphere, like real, just everybody knew each other, and, you know, you run into people on the street all the time, and everybody's sort of involved in each other's lives, either, you know, playing in bands or working on other projects like films or other things. It was pretty great in that way. Like a lot of people supporting each other, doing creative stuff. I don't know. I mean, it was better than high school, for sure, because people were a lot more supportive of each other.
So was it that kind of drew you there, or because you were originally just kind of passing through, right?
Yeah, my original plan was to move to San Francisco, and Rachel Carnes was moving out there at the same time. She was living in DC, and we were real good friends, and I decided to help her move out there because I had a van. So we drove out together, and I was going to go on to San Francisco, but I just kind of ended up staying, and then I sort of realized that I didn't have enough money to really make the move, and I had enough money to get down here, and then I'd basically be broke, and I didn't want to do that. The city's pretty expensive, so I just sort of stuck around for a while, and Tay from Kicking Giant had a room at the Red House, which he let me stay in for a couple weeks because he usually stayed at the Martin with his girlfriend, and after a few weeks, I guess I just sort of resigned myself to staying there because I liked Olympia too, and I had a lot of friends, and it was really cheap. So I cleared out the garage, which was about waist high with trash and just stuff that old roommates had left over the years. Cleared all that out, and I stole some wood from a construction site down the road and put up a wall and put in a window, put in electricity. Just kind of made it, you know, semi-livable, which was about the degree of livability that it was for the rest of the 5 years or so that people lived in there.
So that was the studio, or that was the bedroom, or both?
That was the garage, which was my bedroom, and I had the control room for the studio in there, and it was attached to the basement, which was like the live room, recording room. And then the other part of the basement, first Rachel lived in, and then Vern moved in. Vern and Jen, and Smokey the cat.
So what bands were going on back then, like early?
In Olympia?
Yeah, like when like Carp would have been like starting out.
Like Fits of Depression was sort of like the hometown heroes of Olympia, and I know the Carp guys were really into them, and we were friends with those guys, with Mikey and everyone, and Craig, and they were an amazing band, just like the quintessential like party band. Knew tons of covers and were really good and really heavy, and I think that was sort of like probably kind of like an inspiration for Carp. I mean, there are tons of bands. It's hard to narrow it down, but I think that's, you know, that's the one that Carp was probably influenced by, if any.
What was your impression of them, like, as in individuals? Like, you just maybe start with one of them.
I mean, you know, when you were alone with any one of the guys, they were just super sweet and really nice guys and totally great to be around. And then once you got two or more of them together, they could just get really, I mean, they would never be mean to me, but yeah, they would just be really shitty to each other. But, you know, alone they were just total sweethearts.
But yet they continued to stay together for so long. So
Yeah.
is it some weird kind of love-hate thing? Or was...
Yeah, it was definitely a love-hate thing, I think. Even, you know, the last time we played with them, the last time I played with them was 97, I think, or 98, probably 97, or maybe even 96, but anyway, around that time, the Champs played with them here in San Francisco at this warehouse, the Cap Street warehouse, and they seemed like they mellowed out a little bit, but they still were kind of bitching at each other on stage, and, you know, little fights here and there. And I remember someone heckled them in the audience, and Chris said, "I remember my first beer." Just totally shut the guy down.
So, how do you, like, how were they kind of different from each other? Like, you know, did they seem like, you know, did each one kind of like, you know, like one guy's kind of like this, one guy's kind of like that?
I mean, Jared definitely seemed like the most responsible out of the bunch, and I feel like he probably, you know, dealt with more bookings and scheduling recording and stuff. He was sort of like the liaison to the outside world. And Chris was kind of like the baby of the bunch, or acted like the baby of the bunch. And not necessarily in a bad way, but he could require some maintenance. And then Scott, I don't know. I'm not sure where. I mean, I guess he was sort of like in between those two extremes. And I'm trying to remember if there was like a specific like friction between any specific two of them. It seemed like it changed from time to time. We'd go through phases of two of them being more at odds with each other than the others.
So what is, I was wondering if you could explain, like, what kind of position do you think, like, the Melvins hold, like, in the Northwest? Or, you know, like, kind of what they mean there. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like it's kind of different in different parts of the country.
I mean, obviously the Melvins were a huge influence on Carp and a lot of other bands, a lot of bands that I've been in. And being that they're, you know, from the same part of the state and everything, even more so, and definitely like a big inspiration for Carp and some other bands. I don't know. I don't know if the fact that they were kind of, you know, got kind of big, I don't know if that had any kind of bearing on what they meant to people in Olympia. If I don't know if Carp really had those kind of aspirations to get big. They just like to play and they like to be loud. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, what do you think were kind of like their goals, quote unquote, or like what they were? Goals is probably the wrong word.
I
but,
don't.
like,
I don't think they had any goals. I think, like me, they just like to be loud. I've never had any goals in any bands. I just like to play a loud guitar, and it's pretty simple.
So, what did you think about like? Did like over the years, like, did you see a change in the music as time went on, or what was your just impression of like looking back at kind of the time they were playing?
I mean, they seem pretty consistent throughout the time of being a band. Their songwriting and the sound. I feel like the song structures got a little more complex as time went on. Compared to when they're in high school. The first couple 7-inches. Definitely by the time we recorded Suplex, I feel like the songs got more complex and the songs got longer and more involved, more epic. I don't know, did they record anything after Suplex?
Yeah,
Is there an album?
self-titled, and the self-titled LP and the Up
Oh, right.
7-inch.
I don't know if I heard the self-titled one.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think I left Olympia in 95, like July of 95, so I kind of lost track of them a little bit. I would see them now and then, like the Champs would play with them down here and maybe in Olympia once, but I kind of lost track of what they're doing for the last couple of years.
Yeah, what did you think when you heard about like when they broke up?
I really don't remember hearing that. I don't remember when that happened. When was that?
98, like August, September, something like that.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that. I really don't. I'm not a very good interview subject. I don't remember anything.
That's cool. Nobody does.
I tried to fill myself with caffeine so I'd remember stuff.
Let's see. Let's see. What? Oh, so what did you think about the Whip? Like that whole period of time. Were you around them then, or
Around.
kind of in the loop with them at that time? Kind of when like Jared and Scott started playing together again.
No, I mean I heard the 7-inch, but I never saw them or played with them or anything. Was that like around 98, 99?
No, that must have been later because we played a bunch of shows with them then. So it must.
And
have
Joe was in
been-
that band too, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I knew they were playing, and I heard the 7-inch, but I never saw them, or I wasn't like in contact with them really around that time.
Okay. Oh, so what was if you can kind of just describe for somebody who maybe has like no information, like what was going on in Olympia with like the Riot Girl thing? Like what was it?
I don't, wait,
Or
say it
just
again?
like a very simple like what the Riot Girl thing was, or what was happening in Olympia at that time.
I'm sure this has been summed up by many other people, many different ways, and probably better than I'll do it. But Riot Girl basically was just like girls, women getting together and talking about issues that were important to them and doing something about them and just having their voice heard. That's kind of what it boils down to.
And how did you get an impression of like how CARP was like viewed by them, or in juxtaposition with that stuff?
There were a few people in the Riot Grrrl scene or whatever, if you want to call it that, that weren't really that into them. Just thought they were obnoxious boys who really didn't have anything important to say. But then there were other girls in that scene that totally dug him and loved him, like people who had sort of grown up with him, especially from the area.
Were you good? Who were you best friends with? Did you feel like of the CARP guys? Were any of you like pally?
We were a bunch of pallies. I don't know. I think I was pretty much equal friends with all of them. Maybe a little bit more with Chris, because really all of them, because they would all really hang out at our house all the time with me and Vern. Staying up, watching Army of Darkness for the 30th time, or having Vern block the door at 6 a.m. and making us listen to dueling banjos over and over again after the third case of Oli. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say I was, equally friends with all three of them.
What was your sense of like what was like important to Chris, or kind of like his driving thing?
I don't know. I wouldn't say anything specific. He was a mystery wrapped inside of an enigma, inside of a riddle.
Why do you say that?
He was a little guarded with his emotions, his feelings. Wasn't very open, but sometimes he could be. I think like when it was just like one-on-one, he would certainly be like that more so. But when he was around the other guys or other people, he definitely was more closed off.
And that's kind of true of everybody
Yeah,
to an extent, right? Like,
especially for someone that age, I'm sure I was the same way too.
Cool. Let me switch out this tape really quick.
Soundgarden. It was very bizarre. I didn't know that much about it, but I just sort of got caught in the middle of this conversation. And I think Kim Thale was a history teacher at the time.
Oh, I think I heard that.
This thing's totally fucked. Always fucking working whenever he has the opening, so I can't go. You can see some meters moving now.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
You ever watch those like classic album series?
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally.
It's funny how they always like have the candles like all over the control room.
I know you do that sometimes.
Yeah.
You just don't want anybody to know. I have a couple 3-minute scenes with me if you want to see them
Sure.
from the doc. I'm interested to see what you guys think of them.
Curious to see Kathleen's interview.
She's in one of the scenes.
Just curious to see what she says about them. Some good movement on that meter.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Ham's Bear mug in there.
Oh yeah, that's appropriate.
I bought that at the Olympia Brewery, and I've never gone a day without drinking out of it in 15 years, or 17 years.
So you don't ever think about moving back to DC? Don't you have like family there and stuff?
A little bit of family. Not a lot. I have some family in Baltimore too.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy city.
Yeah.
Did you ever live there?
In Baltimore?
Yeah.
No. But, we went there all the time to visit my grandparents, my
Right.
cousins. One of my cousins has this incredible building that he bought this warehouse for really cheap in Canton, which is like the next neighborhood over from Fells Point, and spent 6 years fixing it up, and now it's just unbelievable. It's like,
Wow.
it's
What's
like,
he do? Like rent it or?
no, he lives in it. He's like a property manager and does renovations and stuff, and he just it's like the most incredible house, and has this giant fire pit in the middle, and the kitchen is like a restaurant.
Oh
And
wow.
and then there's like a room on the roof that opens up that's like a hot tub room, and the walls open up. And then you go up on the upper roof, and it's all like the soft tile with a fire pit in the middle and a bar.
It's like a mansion.
It's incredible. And of course he wants to move now
Right.
as soon as he's finished it, because he hates Baltimore. He's been there all his life, and he wants to move to Oregon.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. It'll be a lot closer.
Yeah. He's trying to convince me to buy it.
Buy his building?
Yeah, because there's like 3,000 square
Is it
feet.
affordable?
I doubt it.
imagine.
There's like 3,000 square feet of open space on the first floor. That would be like a great studio. But I would
You
never.
don't want to move to Baltimore, dude.
No.
Baltimore is like.
How long
Well-
have you been in Brooklyn?
Since 2001, basically. Except
Alright.
for that year I spent in Portland, and I nearly killed myself. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, it was really awful. Like, I'm like absolutely gun shy now about moving out of New York.
Yeah.
Like, it terrifies me. Like, now, at the point, and then I was like, oh, move out of New York, no big deal. And I'd only been in New York for like 4 or 5 years at that point. And I was with a year in Portland, and I was just like, the land of, oh my God. I had to get out of there. I was like, I'm going to lose my faith in humanity if I don't get out of here soon.
Wow.
'Cause everybody just seemed like drunk and like lazy and just like not really doing anything and just like, oh man, I was just really,
It's a depressing place.
yeah, I was really like bummed out. And I think too that it was too late for me. Like I was already past that stage of my life.
Best friend moved up there from here like 5 years ago. Every once in a while, I think maybe I should move to Portland just because it'd be nice to be close to him. But
Sure.
it's really not worth it.
Well, and I think in your situation, it probably might not be very bad. You know, you got a wife, you got a dog. You know, you'll be like kind of
Yeah.
insular.
We're actually moving. I don't know if I told you this already. We're moving to Grass Valley.
Where's that?
It's like 2.5 hours northeast of here, between Sacramento and Reno, the Sierra foothills.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow, like how reclusive is that gonna be?
We're like 4 miles outside of town, and town is like Olympia size, maybe a little smaller, but there's two cities next to each other. There's Nevada City and Grass Valley. They're like sister
So you guys gonna be like
cities.
in the woods?
Yeah. But there's like a fair amount of culture up there.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like one of those pockets, and there's a lot of bands from up there. And
Oh, really?
They have shows, and
Wow. So you have friends up there?
yeah, we know some people. Not a ton of people, but
So that's not why you're moving up there.
no. We just we go up there in the summer to swim in the river.
Yeah.
They have really good swimming holes, and we
Sure.
just started liking it more and more, and we want to get out of the city because the weather's so shitty here. And,
Sure.
we want to live somewhere cheap. I wanna pay
Yeah.
off- Once I sell this house, I can pay off my mortgage, pay off both mortgages.
Oh wow, you own this place.
Yeah, I
Guess
bought
knew
it
that.
for super cheap, but this is the house that we're buying. supposedly. We've had
Really?
an offer on it since
That's
June.
one house?
Yeah,
That is enormous.
yeah. The downstairs has a separate entrance, so that'll be like the guest house for bands. The downstairs,
Oh, wow.
because it's got its own kitchen.
That
And it's got
porch is
a bar with a Budweiser tap.
Oh my god. Not a small selling point, probably. Wow. That's the acreage? Is that the
Yeah,
land
it's
that
five-
would be
5.5
yours?
acres.
Holy
And then it's got this
schmoly.
separate building, which is gonna be a recording studio.
Oh wow, so you're not even gonna have it in the house.
Yeah, it's twice as big as this whole studio area, and the ceilings are 13 feet.
So you're just gonna get the bands to come to you then?
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And it's got a
excellent.
pool.
Holy crap, dude.
It's really cheap too.
You're making some good life decisions, Tim.
I hope so. It's a little
You're
scary.
aging gracefully.
It's a little scary, like moving out, to the middle of nowhere. But it's only 2.5 hours from here, and we already have some friends up there. It's got great restaurants, good food, and
Yeah.
it's got a great record store. The weather's nice. They get a little bit of snow in the winter. It gets really hot in the summer.
Right.
And Mandy and I are both from the east, and we miss the hot summers.
Oh, she is too?
Yeah, she's from Detroit.
Oh wow. I've been spending some time in Detroit actually.
Yeah, yeah. Why?
So I was working on a dock there up until very recently. So fucked up.
Yeah.
It's awful. Awful. It's like awful. And then I was there and Flint, which is even more depressing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Flint's more depressing because it seems like it should be this like cute little town, and it's just not.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like really, really bad crime, and it's just really, really scary. I mean, I don't know what people are gonna do over there.
Yeah, there's just no other industry. There's no way for people to make money besides cars.